Angels, blood-sucking, booze, and a plentiful supply of narcotics? Nope, this isn't a Charlie Sheen biography, but Preacher, AMC's adaptation of Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon's comic book of the same name. And don't be fooled, though it plays on Sundays, this show is not trying to get you to go to church. Question is though, is this thing any good?
The answer is a resounding yes, and in the best possible way, this ain't your conventional dollop of cable TV. For those not in the know, Preacher follows the story of Jesse Custer, a hard-drinking preacher, on a journey across America to seek out and destroy God, as you do. At least that's how it goes down in the comics. The show is very much its own beast, functioning more as a prequel, establishing the characters, themes, and tone of this unique world. It does, however, stay true to the bizarre and gory essence of the source material, catering for new viewers and veteran fans alike.
The story picks up in the town of Anvil, Texas. Get it? Anvil. After his criminal exploits go right, Jesse finds himself back in his daddy's church, delivering crappy and uninspired sermons to townsfolk who probably look more at home in The Walking Dead. This is AMC after all. There's barely a pulse in the place, that is, until Jesse's body is chosen as a vessel by a mysterious entity called Genesis, which grants him the voice of God. When he speaks, people are compelled to do shit, and that shit ain't always nice.
I have to say, I had my doubts about Dominic Cooper being cast as Jesse, but I'm happy to say they're being proven completely baseless.
Yeah, obviously you didn't see the devil's double. This is a guy who can handle accents, physicality, and inner conflict in his sleep.
Yeah, Cooper has owned the role of Jesse and easily switches between tough guy and credible, if weird, community leader. He grounds the show, playing the somewhat straight man as crazy shit happens all around him. He just sucks it all up without even batting an eyelid. If only all preachers were like this.
Joining Jesse for the ride are his old flame / partner in crime Tulip and creature of the night Cassidy. Tulip is brought to life by Mega Ruth Negga, and what a job she's done. She starts out as a revenge-fueled nut, but as the story progresses, we get to see the full range of a character, showing equal amounts of tenderness and total badassery. It's funny that the racial recasting of Tulip caused such a stir when it was announced, and in this day and age it would seem a little disingenuous to have an all-white cast, particularly with a character like Tulip, who in the comics is a bit of a blonde bimbo. Negga's Tulip, on the other hand, is a complex, sassy female who's not afraid to speak her mind nor roll with the punches.
By far the most enjoyable character, though, is John Gilgan's Cassidy. Outwardly, he's seemingly an affable guy who just wants to get high and shag and drink. In many ways, he's your stereotypical Irishman. That is until we learn he's a vampire as well. Though definitely not the kind you'd see in Twilight. Shit, Blade probably wouldn't even touch this guy. He's kind of like Bono if he had a sense of humour and a thirst for blood. Gilgan has this ease on screen which makes his scenes a joy to watch, even when he's tearing people limb from limb, which is frequent.
Also interwoven in the story is the Saint of Killers, a Confederate killing machine hell-bent on getting revenge. Without going too far into spoilers, this guy's plot plays out in the late 1800s in a Wild West-inspired scenario, and through a quirk of storytelling he becomes embroiled in Jesse's world, which will see him become a major player next season. There's a selection of other weird and wonderful characters, including a guy with an arse for a face, called Arseface, but it's really worth investing some time and getting to know all of them individually.
The central arc of Season 1 sees Jesse getting to grips with his new powers as he uses them to bring life back to his church. The aforementioned Genesis essentially acts as his magnet to pull in the punters, which is a pretty accurate metaphor for modern religion. Jesse gets a little too big for his cowboy boots though, and begins using people's faith against them, alienating those around him in suitably Walter White fashion. The show uses his arc to explore theology, examining the true nature of choice, God, and everything in between. And despite his best intentions, Jesse learns exactly how seductive religion and the power it affords can be. To the show's credit though, the discussion never feels one-sided or particularly anti-Christian.
And this was the main problem getting Preacher adapted. Unlike the show, the comic is completely unapologetic in its political incorrectness. It goes to great lengths to acquaint us with the seedy underbelly of the good old US of A. So while it's an absolute hoot to read, it's not the most palatable story for mainstream audiences. As such, there were numerous attempts to bring Preacher to the screen before Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg eventually came on board to produce. Often 90s set stories don't translate too well to modern day, so you have to commend the tweaks they've made because the tone of the show really works.
The comic is notorious for its graphic violence, foul language, and a sense of humour so black it gets beaten by the cops and it didn't do nothing. Seriously, don't buy this book for your kid's 10th birthday. Shit, 20's probably still too young. So, being on AMC, there were obviously going to be some compromises, most notably in the swearing and the sex. But while the mother, brother, and other fuckers have been excised, the violence remains. Preacher has wisely taken inspiration from the likes of The Evil Dead, balancing intense action with grey giggles. And and it's truly brilliant how the show squeezes belly laughs from horrific situations, and it's definitely helped by the acting talent on offer. It may not make you guffaw like a pie in the face, but it might make you smile with an ease after a shotgun to the face instead.
Outside of the story, the show is fantastic to behold and be here. The cinematography is amazing and the soundtrack and theme suitably rousing. If it bears visual similarities to Breaking Bad, it's because both were filmed in Albuquerque, and Preacher even borrows some of the same locations. Like Breaking Bad, Preacher might not find its true audience until it becomes available for streaming online. One of the main stumbling blocks for me personally was the simple fact that the pilot aired directly after the Hold the Door episode of Game of Thrones. Dude, really? So the immediate transition was a little difficult, but it was totally worth getting past that. And for a TV show this good, it's a shame more people aren't talking about it.
This is intelligent TV that bears all the hallmarks of a great series in the making. It subverts expectations, it reveals things slowly and cleverly, and it doesn't treat the audience like an idiot. And if you're a returning fan, there are plenty of winks and nods to the original comics to keep you satisfied.
Overall, Season 1 feels like they're testing the water, kind of like a proof of concept, but job most definitely done. If you haven't already done so, go check out Preacher immediately, or wait till it comes on Netflix. Either way, praise the TV gods that Preacher has finally made it to our screens, and prepare yourself for more weird and wonderful storylines in the seasons to come.